The room was dark, illuminated only by the cold glow of multiple monitors displaying endless streams of data. Names, numbers, and coordinates scrolled past too quickly for the human eye to register, but he had long since stopped needing to read them. It was routine now. Another day, another minor adjustment to reality. Ethan leaned back in his chair, stretching his arms as he exhaled a slow breath. The organization had tasked him with countless assignments over the years, and he had always executed them with precision. Erasing memories, altering timelines, rewriting events, it was all just part of the job. But something about today's assignment unsettled him. The name on the screen looked familiar. Too familiar. He tapped a few keys, pulling up the dossier. Subject: Eleanor Graves. Status: marked for reality adjustment. The words stared back at him, cold and absolute. Eleanor Graves. Why did that name make his pulse quicken? He tried to shake the feeling and clicked on her profile. Images flickered on the screen. A woman in her mid-30s, auburn hair, piercing green eyes. He saw fragments of her life, childhood pictures, school reports, a wedding photo. Then, a final image, a surveillance shot of her standing on a street corner, looking directly into the camera, as if she knew she was being watched. Ethan hesitated. Memories stirred, but they were distant and fragmented. Had they met before? Was she someone from a past he had long forgotten? He ran a search query through the system, but the results came back blank. That was impossible. No one was untraceable. A cold bead of sweat formed at his temple. Either the system was compromised, or someone had deliberately erased her from existence. And that meant she was dangerous. Ethan's hands hovered over the keyboard. A single keystroke could erase Eleanor Graves from reality, ensuring that whatever secrets she held would be buried forever. But for the first time in his career, he hesitated. His mind raced through the possibilities. If she had been erased from the system, then someone within the organization had deemed her a threat. But why? And more importantly, why was he assigned to handle it? A soft chime rang through his headset, signaling an incoming transmission. Ethan, report. What's the delay? The voice was clipped and impatient. Director Langley. Ethan took a steady breath before replying. There's an anomaly in the system. Subject's records are incomplete. Running additional diagnostics. A brief pause. Then, you have 1 hour. If you can't complete the assignment, we will. The line went dead. Ethan clenched his fists. He was running out of time. He needed to find Eleanor Graves before the organization did. And to do that, he had to break the one rule he had never dared to before. He had to step outside the system. That night, Ethan left the facility through a route only a handful of people knew existed. The organization's headquarters was a fortress, but he had memorized every blind spot in the surveillance. He moved quickly through the alleyways of the city, the sound of distant sirens fading behind him. He needed a place to think, to figure out his next move. An old cafe at the edge of downtown came to mind. It was the kind of place where people went to disappear. Inside, the air smelled of burnt coffee and dust. A few tired patrons sat hunched over their drinks, lost in their own thoughts. Ethan found a secluded booth in the back and pulled out a small, encrypted device. If Eleanor Graves had been erased, then there had to be physical records somewhere. The organization couldn't completely wipe someone without leaving a trace. He tapped into an off-grid database he had set up years ago, a fail-safe in case things ever went wrong. He ran a deep search. 5 minutes later, a single result appeared, an address. His pulse quickened. She was still out there. He left the cafe without finishing his drink. The city lights flickered as he moved through the streets, a nagging sense of déjà vu creeping over him. When he arrived at the address, an old apartment building with faded paint and broken windows, something felt wrong. The door was ajar. He stepped inside, hand instinctively reaching for the concealed weapon at his hip. Papers were scattered across the floor, drawers left open in a rush. Someone had been here before him. Then he saw it, a photograph on the desk. It was him, standing next to Eleanor Graves. His breath caught. This wasn't just another assignment. This was personal.